Good morning, students. In today's class of service marketing, we start with a new topic that what are the various guidelines for service blueprint. So these guidelines should be followed while making of a preparing a service blueprint. So before starting with the guidelines that should be kept in mind while making a service blueprinting, just let us recap what we have studied in the previous class. In the previous class, we have studied what is service blueprinting, what are the various components of service blueprinting that we have completed, and also we have understood with the help of an example how the service blueprinting is done. So just let us recap the example. This is a service blueprint of a pizza delivery company that delivers pizza not only offline but also online. So with the various five components that is mentioned here: physical evidence, customer interactions, employee on-stage actions, employee backstage actions, and support processes, and also the various lines of interaction, the line of interaction, the line of visibility, and the line of internal interaction. So all these things are the main components of a service blueprint. An example is given, and we can see that above the line of interaction means where the physical evidence and customer actions takes place, where there is interaction between the customer and the service organization. So in this example, we can see that both offline and online orders are being placed, and the by looking at the website, by looking at the uniform, storefront, logo, payment processes, pizza box, the order, these the customer decides the quality of the service that they're going to receive. And below the line of interaction is the line of visibility where the on-stage actions takes place. So once a pizza is being delivered, is taken online or an offline, whatever on-stage actions that are required here on in offline delivery, the order has to be handed over to the counter, and also the deliver of packages is done by the driver. So this is where a customer on-stage contact employees are required. In some cases where such orders are taken online, row of technology row is required, where the service is uh, taken online. So below the line of visibility is all the items are not visible to the customers, and everything that is above the line of visibility are visible to the customer. So this the line of visibility is very important. Then comes with the contact backstage actions. So what are the employees that are involved in the backstage actions? So both in offline and online, in the example we can see receiving a customer order, sending order status notification in online, or notify customer the order is complete in offline, and also notify the customer about the arrival of the package. So all these things are the backstage actions. These backstage actions are very important because they support the on-stage actions and other interactions that happens with the customer. So these on-stage backstage actions are very, very important. Below the backstage of action, there is a line of internal interaction where the support processes are present. These are not visible to the customers. In this these support processes support the processes of both the backstage actions and the onstage actions. Here in the examples we can see that relaying an order to cooks, then cooking cooking the process, that cooking process takes place, the packaging of the order, the how the order is hold for the customer, or the driver picks it up and then dispatch is done through the driver. All these things are the support processes. Without the support processes, the backstage actions and the onstage actions cannot take place. So this is a example how service blueprinting is done, and what are the various components and the lines that are present in to be kept in mind while preparing or designing of a service blueprint. So after understanding the various components and the various lines that should be integrated or involved in the service blueprint, we will understand what are the various guidelines that should be followed while preparing of a service blueprint. It is very important to understand these guidelines because these guidelines will guide us in making the service blueprint much more efficient and effective and productive. So we'll start with the guidelines that are essential to be kept in mind in making of a or preparing of a service blueprint. In the first step is the decision on company service or service process to be blueprinted. It is very important to see that whatever service that we are going to, or service process or service or customer segment for which we are going to make the service blueprint, that should be clear in our mind. Because once we are clear that what we are going to blueprint, which service process we are going to blueprint, or the service process for a particular customer segment that we are going to blueprint, then we will be having a clear idea and we can set our goals very properly, and we can also achieve this service blueprinting goals. So the service select the service or service process and the customer segment that will be the focus of the blueprint. So that should be properly selected, the service or the service process, and also the customer segment for whom we are designing or the service blueprint, that should be kept in mind. Different segments of customer may receive service differently, which necessitates that service blueprints need to be developed. It is very important that there are different customer segments. Like suppose Airtel company that provides broadband, it is a service it provides both to the corporate clients and also to the individual clients. So a corporate client like TCS or Infosys that receives services from this broadband services from Airtel, their customer segment is different. The way the service being delivered, the delivery process of the service for those customer segments, corporate segments are different, and the customer segments that individually that takes the broadband from Airtel, their way of handling the customers and how the service has to be reaching these individual customers, that is different. So while service blueprinting, we should understand for which customer segment we are blueprinting the, so we are doing the service blueprinting. So that should be kept in mind, because the different customer segment will receive the service differently, and that necessitates that they should have different service blueprinting. So that should be kept in mind. Both the internal and external customer segment can be examined to make sure that the goals of the blueprinting are very, very clear to everyone. Both the internal and external customer segments should be kept in mind, and everybody should be examined properly to see that the whatever goals that we are setting for this blueprinting process, they should be clear in everybody's mind. That is very important. Now, for every new service, it is likely to specify the service desired, whereas for a currently offered service, it is often used to blueprint how service is currently being offered. So this blueprinting can be done for a completely new service that a service company is offering, is starting to offer, or a service that is already being offered, currently being offered to customers, and there are certain improvement that is need to be made in the service delivery process. That is the reason the service blueprinting is done. So when we are making a service blueprint for a newly desired service, so how the service we are desiring that we are going to deliver to the customer, that should be kept in mind. But whereas we are going to make improvement in the existing or currently offered service, then they that main thing, it has to be seen that how the service is currently offered, what are the bottlenecks, and how these bottlenecks can be removed, how the service process can be made much more foolproof. That should be kept in mind. However, at times it is useful to create a desired service process might look like for a service that is already being offered. We also can make a service process that is desired by the company to understand how the service is actually being delivered to the customer as of now, and what is the desired way in which the service company wants that the service should reach the customers. So then comparisons can be made, then we can understand where are the problem areas, where are the loopholes, and ways in which these loopholes can be removed. So the first guidelines is to see that decision on company service or service process to be blueprint, that has to be very, very clear. Now coming to the second guideline, that is determining who should be involved in the blueprinting process. So there's various departments, cross-functional teams in the organization. These are working in order to provide the service to the customers, and the various teams or the various heads of these teams and departments should be made part of this blueprinting process. But there should be careful examining as to who should be involved in the blueprinting process, because if unimportant people or people who do not are not essential or do not have expertise should not, if they are included, then it will lead to conflict and chaos. So we have to properly determine who should be involved, who are the people who should be involved in designing of the particular blueprinting process. Some thought should also be given to who should be involved in the blueprinting process for a particular service. So those people who will be involved in making the blueprinting process of a particular service, who should be involved, a proper thought should be given, a proper analysis should be done, and then those people should be added in designing of the service blueprint. Ideally, representatives of all groups involved in design, delivery, and support of the service, and in some cases, customers should be involved. So, all those people, all those cross-functional teams and cross-functional departments that deal with the designing, the delivery, and support of the service, they should be involved, and in some cases, the customer should also be involved in order to understand the feedback of the customers. This provides the opportunity to capture the diverse perspective concerning how a service currently is executed by the firm. So when we are adding these people, those are involved in the design, delivery, and support of the service, then we will understand the various diverse perspectives of how the service is being executed by the firm, how this service is actually presently given to the customers. So we will understand that properly, and we will able to understand what are the various bottlenecks or loopholes that is present in the existing service blueprint. Now coming to the third step, which is very important, is modify the blueprinting technique as appropriate. That means that the blueprinting should be done in such a way that it matches the requirement of the company. So the blueprinting, service blueprinting should be tailor-made. Sometimes it makes sense to modify a traditional blueprint. Sometimes whatever happens, there is a particular service blueprint existing in the organization, and due to a passage of time, the service blueprint has become much more traditional, and some modifications are required to see that the blueprint matches to the present times. If we give you an example, when blueprinting an internet-based service that does not have any on-stage contact activities, it should be beneficial to remove this on-stage contact employee actions row and replace it with a on-stage technology row to capture how the customer interact with the company's technology. So suppose an internet-based service is there that does not require any on-stage contact employee activities. Then this complete line of this on-stage contact employee actions that should be removed, and they should be replaced by a on-stage technology row that will be so that the customers can interact directly with the company's technology. So depending upon what is the service that we are giving, whether the requirement of on-stage employee actions are required, or that can whether an on-stage technology is required, accordingly we can make changes in the service blueprinting. Sometimes services might require both an on-stage contact employee activities row as well as an on-stage technology row. So both the people and the technology need to coexist. Under such a situation, we have to decide what service are we are providing to the customers, what is the delivery process, and then we can make a service blueprinting much more efficient. Now, like an example that has been given here is an airline company where customers check via self-service technology and also interact with face-to-face with airline employees. So what happens whenever it may be a system must be there where the customers actually this through self-service they use technology and check in into the airline company but they have to also interact with this airline people directly. So both the on-stage contact employees human side is required, and also the technology on-stage technology role is required. So depending upon that only we can decide the service blueprinting. Now, any modifications that enables better assessment of a particular service and achievement of the blueprinting goal should be considered. So whatever modifications we are making, this should be made in such a way that a particular service goals that has been set has properly been achieved, and this should be considered. If this modifications helps in reaching the goal of the service blueprinting, then they should be implemented or used. The adaptability is the key strength of a blueprinting technique. It is a very, very important point because we want that the service blueprinting technique, whatever we are the blueprinting technique, that should be very, very adaptable, so that with the change of time, any modifications can be made accordingly. Some rows or some processes can be removed, or some processes can be new processes can be added in order to make the service blueprinting much more productive. Coming to the fourth guideline for service blueprinting, that is map the service as it happens most of the time. We have to make the service blueprinting as it happens most of the time, and we should never take the unexpected things or special situations in which the service is delivered, because we want to understand how the service is being delivered to the customers normally most of the time, in order to understand the bottlenecks that arises and the problem areas. So we have to map this make the blueprinting in such a service blueprinting in such a way that the service is being delivered to the customers most of the time. So there are always unforeseen and unexpected things that may happen when providing the service, but participants should focus on what typically occurs during the service process, at least initially. So whenever the service blueprinting is done for the first time or initially, the main aim should be only to focus at least on the way the service is delivered normally most of the time, and we should not focus on unforeseen or unexpected things that happen in the service delivery, because it makes the blueprinting much more efficient and simple to understand. Once the typical service process is blueprinted, it can be compared to ideal or competitors blueprint depending on the goals. So once a particular, most of the time when the service is provided, that service is properly blueprinted, then once the service process is properly blueprinted, the normally the way the service is being provided, it can be compared with the ideal way in which ideal service blueprint can be prepared in order to compare where there is a problem areas. They can also this service typical service blueprint can also be compared with the competitors blueprint to understand how the competitors are doing well and what should be done in order to make our services much more important, much more proper, and much more productive. So depending on the goals, we can make this blueprinting. In case new service innovation, the initial blueprint can show how the service will be experienced by the customer. In case we are making a service for the make the service where the service innovation is done or when the service is given for the first time, then the initial blueprint can show that how we want that the service should be delivered to the consumers and what we want that the customer should experience in the service delivery. That should be kept in mind. Now coming to the fifth guideline, that is we have to understand note disagreements to capture learning. So whenever the cross-functional teams, the cross-functional departments are coming together, the various people in the delivery, design and support of the services are involved, then there must be certain disagreements. These disagreements we have to note, we should not overlook that, because these disagreements give an insight as to what is the way problem areas in the existing system and how this problem can be removed. When blueprinting their own service, participants will often come across points of disagreements between how the service works and how it is delivered to the customer. So there will always be little bit of disagreements as to how the service works and how it is finally delivered to the customer. It is important to note that note these disagreements because they usually indicate the problem area within the service that is worth exploring. So once we understand this reason for these disagreements, we'll understand what is the problem area and how this service can be, this problem area can be removed. So this should be kept in mind. This disagreement should not be overlooked and should be taken into account. Proper learning should be taken out from these disagreements. However, it is also important not to let the disagreements derail the process. It is also very essential to understand that these disagreements should not derail the complete process and there should not be any conflict and chaos due to these disagreements. However, these disagreements can be taken as a learning point and this should be taken as a learning point and learning should be captured from it in order to make the service much more productive. Now coming to the sixth guideline that is very important while blueprinting, service blueprinting, is be sure the customer remains in focus. It is always while blueprinting a service, it should be kept in mind that customer is the main focus area. These are the people for whom the service is being provided, so they should be in the center and all the processes should be designed in such a way so that it will give a proper service experience to the customer. It is common for participants to get engrossed with the step in the process that happens with the organization and to lose sight of the customer. So sometimes what happens when all the people those are involved in the blueprinting process, they so much are get engrossed in the steps that is include should be done should be followed while making this blueprinting that they often lose sight of the customer. They forget about the customer and they're much more trapped in this what are the various steps that should be followed. This should not be done and the customer should always be in focus. It is important that the customer stays in top of mind as the blueprint is developed. So all the participants who are involved in this blueprinting process, it should be kept in their mind, it should be top of their mind that the customers are at top of their mind to see how the service blueprint is being developed, because then only we will be able to see the service delivery process from the customer viewpoint so that we can understand the problem areas that the customer is facing. Now coming to the seventh guidance, track insights that emerge for future insights. So whenever we are making a service blueprinting, there must be a lot of insights that come around this. If a future, this action point should be kept in mind because this will be helping in uh, giving us the idea as to what should be the future action of the service organization. It is often just the act of trying to create a blueprint that leads to big insights that can improve a service. So sometimes while making this blueprinting, developing this service blueprint, a lot of big insights that can happen that actually helps in improving a service. Be sure to note them as you move through the process so you can create action items to pursue once you have finished the blueprint. So we can understand these insights, track these insights in order to understand the various action items that is involved, because that will help to make the service blueprint much more better once the initial service blueprint is prepared. So this gives as the ways in which we can make the service better in future. So these emerge as points for future action. Now the eighth point that is very important guideline is that develop recommendation and future action based on blueprinting goals. Once the process of blueprinting the service is substantially completed, recommendations for actions can be compiled depending on the goals of blueprinting. So once we have this blueprinting process that is completed, all those recommendations for actions that is done, that should be compiled in order to achieve these goals of blueprinting, service blueprinting. If the process was to develop a new service innovation, then the next steps in evaluation of the service will follow. So whenever we are making a blueprint for a new service innovation or a new service that is being started to be given by the service company, the next step is the evaluation of the service will follow. How the service will be proper and how it will be evaluated to see whether the service is matching the expectation of the people or whether it will be what kind of experience that we want to give to the customers. Then this evaluation will show that how this service process will help in satisfying the needs of the customers. However, if the purpose of a service was for a service blueprinting was service improvement, then improvements will be developed, assessed and monitored. So if the service blueprinting was done in order to make improvements in the existing service that is being currently offered by the service organization, then improvements will be developed and assessed and monitored to make the service much more efficient, effective and productive in future. Now coming to the last guideline is that it is desired to create blueprints for use in organizations. So the service blueprints can also be used in organizations for training and other purposes. In some companies and in some situations, going through the blueprinting process is enough to gain insights. So whenever a company, service organization, service company is going through this service blueprinting, there is a lot of insights that happen at times. At other times, the companies want to create blueprints that can share in the organization and can be used for training and other purposes. So this can be used for training of the people to see that how the service is being delivered, what should be in the mind of the customer, minds of these employees whenever they are interacting with the customers, and to see that the service is delivered in a proper manner. The final blueprint should be shown to the participants to make sure that they are correct. So whatever who are the participants involved in making the blueprint, they should be shown the final blueprint to see that all of them agree and can find that the service blueprinting is actually correct, that there is no bottlenecks or problem areas in this particular service blueprinting. Then the accuracy of the blueprint will be increased to the extent that all groups involved in the design, delivery and support of the service process participated in the development. So the accuracy of the blueprint can be increased when all the groups that is involved in the design, delivery and support of the service actually are participating in the development of the service blueprint. Then there are chances that there will be no problem, less chances of problem and more accuracy will be achieved. The blueprint must also be updated over time to make sure that they accurately capture how the service is being delivered. So these blueprints are very important and they should be have this adaptability feature as a strength, because it helps the organization to make the blueprint much more adaptable and accurately capture how the service being delivered in future. So we can make modifications in the blueprint and this can be updated over time, and to see that how far the service can be delivered in a much more better manner, to see that the service blueprint actually matches the experience that we want to give to the customer. So these are the main guidelines that should be kept in mind while doing a service blueprinting. But apart from this guideline, we should also understand what are the reasons why the service blueprinting is important. So next we will understand the importance of service blueprinting. So we'll understand why the service blueprinting is so much essential for a service company. The service blueprint helps organizations to effectively understand their services, the resources, and the underlying processes. This is the main reason why the blueprinting process, service blueprinting process is very important for the service organization, because the service blueprint helps the organizations, the service organization to effectively understand the services, the whole delivery process, the whole service process. They are properly able to understand what are the resources involved in it, while delivering of the service, and also what are the underlying processes that are involved in delivery of the process. So all these things are properly understood by the service organization with the help of the service blueprint. That is the reason the service blueprint is very, very essential. Now the next point is that they help to check the logical flow of process, which in turn helps with identifying bottlenecks or errors in the system, with evaluating how effective and productive it is. So what happens? This blueprint helps understanding the logical flow of the process, and when we understand the logical flow process, we'll be able to understand what are the various bottlenecks or errors in the system, and we can make evaluate it, and we can remove these bottlenecks in order to make the system much more effective and productive, and understand how far the system is productive or effective. So that is the reason service blueprinting is very, very important for the service organization. Blueprints also help to understand the customer needs, wants, and impact of failed delivery a service has on customers. So the service blueprint also takes into account the places where the service that is being delivered, there is a service failure, and we have to understand this failed delivery service, because this gives us helps to understand what are the various customer needs and wants, and what impact this failed delivery service has on the customers. So we will try to avoid this failed service delivery. Then comes another point: using the service blueprinting helps to isolate the service system that are slow, repetitive, overly complex, and waste resources or toxic to the customer. So all those processes, all those things that are not important in the service system, service delivery system, that are slow or repetitive, are very, very complex for the customer's point of view to understand. It leads to lead of wastage of resources. All these things, or whether it's toxic or harmful for the end customers, this should be removed from the service while making this service blueprinting. Helps, that is the reason why the service blueprinting is very, very important. Also, the service blueprinting helps in measuring the cost of the service delivery and identifying the opportunities for improving the service delivery system. So why it is more important? Because it improves the it helps the service organizations to understand what is the cost involved in this complete service delivery, and also identify what are the various opportunity areas for the service organization which they can undertake or avail in order to make the service delivery system much more productive and effective in the future. That is the reason service delivery is very, very important from the service organization's point of view. Finally, you can also use them to understand the various cross-functional relationships in your organization and align the front stage and the backstage actions. So this is also one of the reasons why the service blueprinting is very, very important, because this service blueprinting helps us to understand the various cross-functional teams that are involved and in the organization that come together in order to deliver the service to the customers. So whatever these cross-functional teams are there, you will understand how they interact with one another in order to provide the service to the customer, and also it is able to helps the company to align the front stage and the backstage actions. Whatever the front stage and the backstage actions that is happening, that should be aligned so that the people will understand the complete delivery system, so that they will be given a proper customer experience that the service organizations wants them to feel, and also whatever pain areas and bottlenecks that exist in the system, they can be removed easily. So this is the reason why service blueprinting is important, because they are able to, the service blueprinting helps to align this front stage and backstage actions, and also understand how these various cross-functional teams or functional departments come together and interact with one another in order to provide proper service to the customer. So these are the various reasons why the service blueprinting is very important from the service organization's point of view. So in today's class, we have understood what are the various guidelines of the service blueprinting that can be followed in order to make the service blueprinting very much effective, efficient, and productive. Also, we have understood what are the reasons why the service blueprinting is so much important for the service organization, and why the service organization should pay a lot of attention while making this service blueprinting. So please go through the video. I will be sending you the notes digitally. Please go through that. No need to panic. If you have any doubts, contact me. And finally, thank you for your attention.